Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Trudograd with me, BringItDon. We have 2 quests to take care of here in Razdor Village. I don't remember where these NPCs are at, but there's only like 4 houses here, so it's only a matter of time until we find them anyway. The gray-haired man rests his hands on his hips in a business-like manner after giving your armor a once-over, says in a barely audible voice. I doubt this one will need a coffin. He's already walking around in a steel sarcophagus. Greetings and salutations. Need somebody buried? I can't promise the work will go quickly, but the end result will be glorious. Believe me, I'm not only a master of dowsing, I'm also a master undertaker and gravedigger. You're both a gravedigger and a dowser. One cannot exist without the other. You bury a debtor over an underground spring, and a week later, the well water in some nearby village will be contaminated. So when I go looking for new grave sites, I always check the ground with a dowsing rod first. That's right, he wasn't here last time. I think we spoke to his wife, and she said he was out and about. A real clever fella taught me to do so. An honest-to-God, genuine professor. Do you use drilling rigs and hydrometers to look for water? None of that. Professor said I should get a drill, some cable, a tape measure, a computerized moisture meter, and such. But I'm a simple man. Instead, I just broke a forked stick off a bush and adapted it for this project. Worked just as well. Who was this professor anyway? Goryachev. He used to live here before his wife died. May she rest in peace, the poor dear. A few times he talked to me. It was all about her funeral, so I don't know anything about him, except for his views on groundwater and grave sites. He was really scared of water seeping into his wife's coffin. I'll tell you what. It almost sounded like there was something inside the old corpse box that could get ruined by the moisture. I guess the poor fella didn't realize that dead are spoil, even if they don't get wet. White collar. What do you want from him? I see. Listen. How about we change the subject? Sure thing, mister. I want to arrange a funeral. Finally a client. I meant to say, I'm so sorry for your loss. Who do you want to bury? Pointing to Hexogen. Him. I need to bury him. But this man is actually alive. Sniffing suspiciously at Hexogen. Sort of. How observant of you. I lived. I live. I will live again. Both in this portly, fleshy form, and as an eternal spirit in the hearts of brave men. Bah. I'll even survive this joker I call my child. But when this progeny of mine dies, I'm not even going to pay for their funeral. I'll drink to their memory, that's a given. Wine, maybe even some vodka. But shelling out real money, no can do. See? He can talk, now they accept dead clients. It's too hard otherwise, remembering which graves are free, and which are reserved for the living. When he dies, I bury him. That's my only rule in life. I can answer a couple questions. Questions? I don't know about that. I'm an outdoorsman thanks to my trade. Spend most of my days alone in the steppe, or with this nutty old woman. What do I call you? Pacome. Everyone around here knows my name. Now you know it as well. Let's shake on it. How did you become an undertaker? One time a neighbor asked me for a favor, to cobble together a coffin for his father-in-law. Since then, it gradually became my specialty. The land outside the village is free to use, so there's plenty of room for graves. And after the death of my son, grave digging became my only passion in life. Let's not talk about that. I hate dwelling on sad stuff. Tell me about your village. Local history is more my wife's specialty, so she's got nothing better to do than memorize obscure historical anecdotes. Talk to her if you want to learn something useless. What rumors are circulating out on the steppe? I work alone, so I haven't heard much gossip. I do have some weird stories to tell. I was walking along the bank of the Uts when a local stream I've passed 100 times. But recently I spotted something I'd never noticed before. A shepherd walked out from behind a hillock with a mighty herd of really peculiar goatlings. Their wool was striped and colored every shade of green, just like tiny, woolly watermelons on legs. Strange, no? Yeah, it's a little strange. You don't say. We change the subject. The elderly gravedigger shrugs. Listen, I need to find the grave of Professor Goryachev's wife. The gravedigger's eyebrows shoot up his forehead, like two caterpillars jumping off a hot plate, and he takes exactly 3 steps back, as if worried you're contagious. You're not even going to be coy about it, huh? The professor warned me about people like you. Said it was only a matter of time before you start sniffing around, asking about the last resting place of his dear wife. Tell me the password, mister, then maybe we can talk. Can we do without the complications, my good sir? The professor himself sent me, and let God smite me where I stand, if that's not the truth. The gravedigger squints and throws you a sly wink. There isn't the slightest trace of fear on his face now. Yes, alright. I believe you. I mean, it'd still be nice to get the password. If you want to skip that part, I'm game. Let's go. Lead the way, you crazy old codger.
You follow your guide out of the village and onto the open steppe. The blank, snowy canvas, which seems to stretch to infinity before you, gives you mixed feelings. On the one hand, it makes you recollect challenging the Wasteland 2 years ago near Krasnoznameni. On the other, your time roaming Trudograd's narrow and twisty streets has left you with an anxiety bordering on agoraphobia at the sight of this vast and pitiless vista. Shivering from the chill, the gravedigger moves towards the black grove looming on the horizon. This is where you will find the treasure of Professor Goryachev. It looks like quite a hike. Maybe you should find a way to pass the time.
Let's chat with Blaze.
You pat Blaze on the shoulder, and she speaks without slowing her pace. It's pretty in these parts, isn't it? So serene. And she stumbles knee-deep into a hole hidden beneath the snow and barely keeps from falling on her face. When she's recovered, the revolutionary continues. By the way, the local proletariat consists mostly of grave robbers. That's why we never tried to enlist them for our cause. Of course, burying corpses is an ignorant, orgious tradition, and should be replaced by a secular and eco-friendly cremation. But Blaze holds forth in vices of traditional burial for a few minutes, after which she starts singing a Soviet song you recognize from an old movie you saw in your youth. She doesn't stop until you spy a lonely copse of trees out in the middle of the vast steppe.
You carefully scan the grove before proceeding.
Silence reigns in this lonely arbor, where the tall tree trunks deny the raging wind access to the sleepy shelter within. Before you've even taken a step, the gravedigger speaks up.
The going will be much easier from here. Snow isn't deep, and the trees keep out most of the wind.
He surveys the grove closely.
Just don't get distracted, all right? Stick to my path. These parts are generally safe, but the sooner we get back home, the better. And mine's gonna be the quickest route to our destination.
If this place is so safe, why all the warnings?
The gravedigger shrugs.
My nerves are not what they used to be. But don't get worried over nothing. I come here regularly, both on my own and with other folks. Just don't let yourself get distracted and all will be well.
Okay, I'm counting on you.
You loop between tree trunks and gravestones protruding from the snow. Suddenly, your guide halts, so you almost stumble into him.
Hold up. There's someone there,
he says in a tense whisper, and points to a linden tree near the path. More precisely, he points out a dark silhouette, partially hidden behind the massive trunk, watching you. What makes you especially uneasy is that the enigmatic stranger isn't standing in the snow like you, but is 3 meters up, clinging to an ice-rimmed branch.
Call it to the silent observer.
You cup your hands around your mouth and shout, "Hey!" But only your echo replies. The silhouette in the tree doesn't react at all.
Toss a snowball at the shadowy figure.
You throw a snowball at the mysterious observer, but miss. Still, your missile lands in the crown of the tree and releases a mini avalanche from the upper branches. When the snow is settled again, you're surprised to note that the silhouette hasn't budged. Indeed, the strange fellow didn't even brush the snow from his face. An unexpected reaction, or lack thereof, to be more precise.
Make a closer observation of the observer.
No matter how hard you squint, you can't make out this person's expression or gear, much less his intentions. To learn anything else, you'll have to get closer. Comrade Blaze chimes in. I can't make anything out either. It's too dark. Way too dark.
Alright, cautiously approach the stranger's position.
You carefully scurry from bush to bush until you're directly in front of the tree where the mysterious person is perched. You crane your neck back, and
That was something else.
the man in the tree is dead. He's frozen in place, hands fixed to the branches flanking him as he stares into the thicket with a grimace of horror that will remain on his face until spring. Against your will, your mind begins to wonder what evil force drove this poor fellow to such a tortured death. Your elderly guide crosses himself and carefully examines the frozen corpse.
Sapper's spade. Crowbar too. That feller there, he's a marauder, sure as sugar. A grave robber, you get me? Gotta wonder what spooked him so bad that he decided to freeze to death, though.
Perhaps I should climb up and search the body.
For you, the tree is no more difficult than climbing a ladder. Unfortunately, you can't remove the man's sapper shovel and crowbar, which are more tightly frozen to his person than he himself is fixed to the branches. But you do manage to recover 120 rubles from a torn pocket. You gracefully return to the ground level and prepare to...
Continue on your way.
Trying not to think about the fate of the frozen man, you've walked another 20 meters before you come across a tent pitched alongside the path, almost hidden by fallen snow. It looks like it's been abandoned for some time. One panel is ripped open, its jagged edges flutter sluggishly in the burgeoning wind. The gravedigger shakes his head.
Just ignore it. There's a blizzard coming and we don't have time.
Addressing Hexogen. What do you think, Hex?
A tent torn open in the snow brings back terrible memories.
Old man Hexogen replies.
It still pains me to recall how I scared those hikers in the Ural Mountains in '59. They didn't know our film crew was camped across the ravine, shooting Sasquatch versus the Capitalist. The 7th film of my highly successful horror franchise. I was shambling to the catering table in the midst of a blizzard, in my full-body Bigfoot costume. When they spotted me, they slashed their tent open to run into the wilds, half-clothed and spooked out of their wits.
Your mind is turned to something that matters before he's finished the story. The gloomy howling of the wind is getting louder. You sense it may be building up to a blizzard.
Alright, shaking your head. I still think I should check out this tent.
Briefly distracted from your quest for the keycard, you cautiously approach the abandoned camp. A few suspicious details immediately catch your eye. A tattered duffel bag, a stack of empty cans, and the remnants of a couple of tools half hidden in the snow.
Examine the duffel bag.
You examine the tattered duffel bag. The side pocket in which hikers usually carry food and bottled water has been shredded, as if someone searched inside it not with hands, but a pair of serrated Bowie knives. The smaller pockets have been left untouched. You even find 50 rubles in one, and some Kasperermid pills in another.
Look inside the tent.
You carefully lift the flap of torn canvas and look into the twilit interior. What you find is less than exhilarating. A sleeping bag, a broken lantern, and a few partially eaten carrots. It seems the tent's owner was chased away during a meal.
Search the tent more thoroughly.
You find nothing else of interest.
Inspect the tools outside.
You're moving to examine the scattered tools when a spatter of snowflakes hits your cheek. Then another, and another. It looks like a blizzard is kicked up and is getting close to the grove. It will be difficult enough to dig in the frozen ground without a snowstorm battering you. You need to hurry. After giving the ruined camp a final glance, you return to the trail.
Jog towards the grave you're looking for.
Deciding not to waste any more time on the tent, you continue on your journey. Your guide's mood seems to have improved somewhat.
We're almost at this grave of yours now. It's just beyond that hillock.
The elderly fellow apparently doesn't realize that he's here to exhume a corpse, not honor its eternal memory in your company. You're thinking how best to convey this difficult information when an unnaturally low, hoarse roar stops you in your tracks. Something rushes out at you from the shadows betwixt the darkened trees.
Prepare for combat.
In all your time in the Wasteland, you've never seen anything like it. Puffing out its chest and hairy, drooping cheeks, something like a tall, skinny gorilla is loping towards you. That is, if gorillas had dirty white fur, jagged tusks, dimly glowing cat's eyes, and spiraling horns like a ram. Completely silent, which makes it even creepier, the creature shambles right on up to you, then turns to your elderly guide, the gravedigger. Fixed in the mutant's glowing gaze, the old man's mouth hangs open a bit, and he freezes as if hypnotized. Meanwhile, Hexogen attracts your attention and whispers,
Do not panic. That thing would have eaten us already if that was his intention. I'm sure he's here to beg for booze money. But don't give him a single ruble, child. Tell him to get a job.
Alright, give this bird a taste of your left hook.
Gathering all your will to survive in a single punch, you jump into the air with a wordless shout and stun the overgrown gorilla with a crushing blow to the jaw. A hit like that would likely kill or at least cripple a human being. The mutant, however, merely flinches and howls in outrage, after which he raises his paw for an equally violent counterattack.
Alright, block the blow with your hands.
The monster's weighty paw descends right at you, but the blow never connects. Instead, the horned cousin of the legendary Yeti picks up your aged guide, the gravedigger, and ignoring his protests and cries, carries him off into the thicket.
What the heck?
Lead-colored clouds are gathering above, and the snow is falling in thick gusts, threatening to cover the retreating monster's tracks. Soon the landmarks you've been following will also be obscured. You will yourself to set aside the bizarre scene you just witnessed. It's high time you moved on.
I wonder if it was possible to save him. He just got kidnapped in front of us. I proceeded to Goryachev's wife's grave.
Cresting the hillock, you find a shallow glen. In the middle of this space, a shoddily lacquered cross protrudes from a snowdrift. Marina Goryacheva. She died as she lived, remembered by few. You read the text on the laminated plaque. The old professor is many things, but romantic is obviously not one of them.
Alright, so this is unique to the armor, so we'll use this one. Force the special armor into a deep squat. Start digging with your gauntlets, strengthened and quickened by the suit.
Little by little, you pack away the frozen soil. The hole grows a bit deeper, and a bit deeper still. Despite the cold, you're completely drenched in sweat when a nasty yellow something appears at the bottom of the pit. With a joy you never expected to feel at the sight of rotten wood, you realize you've reached the coffin. Now, you just need to open it.
Finally, spit in your palms and grab the lid. All it needs is a little tug. I'm wearing power armor.
You instinctively flinch back as the lid comes free, but no fetid miasma rises from the coffin. All you find is a desiccated skeleton, still clothed in rags stiff with cold. But not everything in the box is withered and freeze-dried. Wrapped in several layers of cellophane and adhesive tape, you see a magnetic keycard marked with the inverter logo.
Alright, take the keycard, rebury the body, then prepare to return to the village. It's the right thing to do.
Tucking the keycard safely away in a secret pocket, you suppress a sigh of relief. It's not time to relax just yet. You still have a couple hours work ahead of you restoring Mrs. Goryachev's resting place. Only after paying a last tribute to the keeper of the key do you set off, muscles aching and breath nearly spent. The blizzard passed as unexpectedly as it started, so you make for the gloomy high-rises of Trudograd, clearly visible on the horizon.
Alright, walk back to the village. Well, we should probably tell the gravedigger's wife what happened to the gravedigger. He got kidnapped by a Yeti. It wasn't this house. Alright, go see if his wife is home. Is this the wrong house too? Oh yeah, I'm on the wrong side of the village. That would do it. The wife of kidnapped Pacome greets you with a worried look. I know you went to that grave with my no-good husband Pacome, yet you returned alone. Did something happen to him? I have bad news. Brace yourself. Tell her about the attack of the fuzzy mutant monster. Watching while the old woman absorbs this information, you're ready for anything. Fainting, weeping, hysteria. But after a pause, the newly made widow simply nods. Oh, so that's how it is. You forgave your old dad, did you, Oleg? That's good. You're a very good boy, Oleg. Thank you for telling me. I'm going to get ready. And they will definitely come for me, if not one, then the other. The nights are so long nowadays. What? Paying you no mind, the woman begins bustling about the house, collecting various supplies in a cloth sack, as if preparing for a long journey. You try to catch her attention again, but she's completely absorbed in this activity. What manner of weirdness is this? Now I know that I'm expected. What? Okay, well, there's more to that than... I guess what we know. Maybe it'll come up later. Who do I need to talk to? There he is. Master Ilya looks upset. He sighs heavily. If you came to purchase some technological novelty, or pick up your order, then... The man's sad voice grows even sadder. Sorry, but you can't. What happened? I was robbed. Some punks jumped me in the middle of the day. They grabbed me by the collar, put a knife to my throat, and scooped up everything I had lying around the shop. Valuable gadgets, as well as the rusty junk. The whole ball of wax, including a bunch of microcassettes I was holding for the local radio station. Do you know who they were? I never encountered any of these bastards before. All I know is the name of their leader. I couldn't see her face because of the mask, but the thugs called her Mistress Mary. Why did they kill you? That kind usually doesn't leave witnesses. I was forced to reveal the identities of some of my clients. The weight of these names was enough for the raider chieftain to order her thugs not to touch me. Unfortunately, it didn't help me save any of my property. Well, well, what are these names? I repair rare equipment for a living, tech that only highly influential people can afford. And where in our region do such people live? That's right, I've already said too much. Did you ask the city guard for help? I try not to mess with them. Not all of my clients are right with the law, or at least the version the city police follows. Who are you working with? Okay, but this is in confidence. There's an organization known as the Conglomerate. Their agent, Mr. Lau, pays me very well for interesting items, but his outfit is hated in Trudograd. You can lose your head for associating with them, literally. Do you know anything else about this Conglomerate? Only that they're from somewhere in the east, and that some of our top officials harbor a terrible hatred for them. That's it. Most of the locals have never even heard of them. Alright, let's get back to your main problem. Do you know where the robbers went? A relieved smile blossoms on Master Ilya's scowling face. He hadn't dared hope you would offer to help. That is not accurate. When the gang was leaving, I heard their chieftain say something like, "We'll sit tight under Vita's hem." Vita's hem is what old-timers call a certain collapsed bridge, not far from the village. If you're really offering aid, then hurry up. I'll thank you for returning at least some of my equipment. The radio guy will also appreciate getting his microcassettes back. Broken bridge outside the city, you say? I'll take a look-see. Later. Alright, let's see if we can't find the broken bridge. Oh wait, oh, You take out your headphones and turn the PTT. A noticeably agitated voice greets you. It's Trudograd radio announcer Sergei Radiolov. Hey, this is Sergei. Can I get an update on the cassettes? There's been a small problem. What is it? Won't Ilya give them to you? We had an agreement. He was robbed. Your cassettes were among the stolen goods. Saints alive. I don't know what to say. If getting them back now is too dangerous, I guess you can just forget about it. Health is much more important. Don't worry. I have to go now. Oh, and I think both Blaze and Hex should level up. We'll deal with that once we exit the map. Oh, 1 point short. Alright, to the broken bridge. Alright, you know what? I'm actually going to call the episode here. I think it's going to be a little bit shorter than usual. Then we'll confront these guys in the next one and go from there. But for now, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one.